Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast is supported by patrons on Patreon. To find out more or to add your support for as little as $1 a month, visit patreon.com/Manawaker. Welcome to Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast. I'm CB Drogi. This week, The Qareen by Seth Augenstein. "These motherfuckers don't come out of bottles," No Man said, voice rising. "And they sure as shit don't grant wishes." He lurched up from his prayer rug, all 400 pounds of him, gesturing frantically at the TV. The screen flashed a chaotic scene, a car plowing through a crowd of screaming people at the other end of Boston. I reached for the remote and flicked it off. "Calm down, I can't understand you," I said. "Why are you sweating?" Just 5 minutes earlier, he had appeared at my door, sopping, carrying his prayer rug. For some reason, my best friend's figure was blurry to me, like I was seeing double. I rubbed my eyes and let him in. That terrorized look in his eyes meant he'd fallen off the wagon again and needed help. But then he started babbling about the jinn, sounding for all the world like his straitjacketed mother back in Bangladesh. He wouldn't even touch a tumbler of my best scotch. This was bizarre. So No Man prayed, and I watched. Suddenly he leapt up again, grabbing the remote and turning the TV back on. He rushed to the window, peering between the curtains at my dead-end street. After a moment he fell again to his prayer rug, slamming forehead to the ground in Mecca's direction. Boston now joins the sad sorority of global cities to fall victim to the guerrilla war of the Intifada, the solemn news anchor said on the TV. "See? See?" said No Man. "I have no idea what you're talking about," I said, slugging straight from the single malt. "Another asshole drives into a crowd, kills some people, it keeps happening. These idiots don't have any real weapons, so all they can do is mow down people with cars. It's horrible, but what can you do?" No Man's face crinkled with tears. I held the bottle out. Even getting him drunk would be preferable to a psychotic break, but he pushed it away. "They'll get the driver," I continued, undeterred. "It'll be another extremist, maybe an Intifada terrorist, maybe a Nazi fanatic. They'll have the guy before a grand jury in weeks at the most. Nothing to worry about." Shaking his head, he stared into my eyes. "You don't remember what I told you about the jinn," he said. I laughed. "Crazy shit your mother told us when you first came from Dhaka? The genies and the curtains and the walls and the carpet, the malevolent spirits who steal socks out of the dryer?" I laughed harder, but No Man just stared at me. 2 beads of sweat streamed down his greasy brow. "This is about Qareen," he said. I stopped laughing. "Kareem? Your crazy cousin who joined the Intifada?" I said, the mirth melting off my face. "Christ, what did he do now?" No Man shook his head. "Not Kareem," he said. "Qareen. You've always heard me wrong. You've always believed there was a flesh-and-blood psychopath in my family, but no such person exists." An explosion ripped across the TV, sending the camera skidding across the street, blowing bodies to bits. The feed cut back to the newscaster. No Man pinched the bridge of his nose, like a migraine had cracked his skull. "There is none of you who does not have a Qareen appointed for him from among the jinn. Muhammad said that in the Quran," No Man said. "A Qareen is a companion born of fire from the original darkness of God's creation. They travel in our shadows, doing unspeakable evil." My heart hammered. The panicked newscaster reported a rising death toll. "Are you saying Muslims have evil doppelgangers?" No Man's eyes welled with tears. "Some of us," he said, "and mine just killed a bunch of people." Just then a mugshot of the suspect appeared in the corner of the screen. It showed a full beard, a fat face, swarthy skin. It was No Man. I leapt out of my chair, spilling the scotch, holding the bottle out like a cutlass. "No Man, what have you done?" He lifted one knee, then one foot and the other, and slowly rose to his full height. He was a good head shorter than me and morbidly obese, but I leapt back all the same. "What have you done?" I repeated, the bottle in my hand trembling. "Listen," he said, standing there breathing hard. "Everything was in control back in Dhaka, but ever since I came to America I have felt torn apart." He stepped forward. I stepped back. "You need to help me," he said, reaching out his hand. I saw the look in his eyes, and I lowered the bottle. This was my best friend. I needed to help. I reached out to embrace him, and the front door flew open. A blast of heat like a desert storm whipped through the house. It threw the curtains and papers across the room and knocked us both to the carpet. But Noman leapt up and dashed to the bathroom. I rushed after him, sensing the presence of something behind me. I threw myself in the room and slammed the door shut. "The hell was that?" I said. "My Qareen," he said in a calm voice. "It is here." Noman stared into the mirror, but not at his own face. Behind him in the dark space over his shoulder was a fuzzy reflection, like a hazy double vision of himself, but this one had golden eyes. I rubbed my face and shook my head, but it was still there. "Don't worry, it won't hurt you," he said. "It's already taken the Kafir lives it needed. It has no use for you." The chopping of a helicopter shook the house. "And now, it's done with me, too," Noman said. The golden orbs blinked out. The double figure melted into my friend's soul reflection. Noman dropped to the bath mat and started to pray, just as the boots of federal agents thundered into the house. This has been The Qareen, written by Seth Augenstein. For more information about Manawaker Studios' other projects, including books and games, visit manawaker.com, which is also where you should go to learn more about the authors featured on this podcast or to get details about submitting a story. The Flash Fiction Podcast theme song is by Kevin MacLeod. Manawaker Studios' director of DICE is Ben Baston. I'm CB Droege. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at CBDROEGE. Thanks for listening.